There was a man named Ryan who believed deeply in true love. He decided to wait patiently for the right woman to come into his life. Ryan was certain that someone was special out there for him, but the years passed, and no one seemed to be the one. Every Christmas, his ex-girlfriend, Sophie, would return from Vancouver to visit him. She still had hopes of rekindling their old romance, but Ryan didn't want to lead her on. So, every year, he would ask one of his friends to pose as his girlfriend whenever Sophie came around. This went on for many years. Each year, Ryan would get a different girl to pretend to be his steady partner, so Sophie would believe that their relationship was truly over. Sophie, on the surface, seemed to take it well, often teasing him about his new girlfriends. But deep inside, she was heartbroken. She cried in secret every time she saw him with another girl, but she was too proud to admit it. Still, every Christmas, Sophie came back, hoping to revive some of the romance they once had. But each year, she returned to Vancouver, feeling disappointed. Finally, 1 year later, Sophie decided she couldn't keep playing this game. She confronted Ryan and confessed that, despite all the years that had passed, he was still the only man she had ever truly loved. Although Ryan knew how Sophie felt about him, her bold confession caught him off guard. He had always thought that with time she would forget about him and move on. Even though Ryan was touched by her undying love, he remembered the reason why he had ended things with her in the first place. She just wasn't the one he was looking for. So he hardened his heart and turned her down again, this time more coldly than ever before. 3 years passed, and Sophie never came back. They didn't even write to each other anymore. Ryan went on with his life, still searching for the one, but deep down, he missed Sophie. On Christmas Eve 1995, Ryan attended a party alone. One of his friends asked, "Hey, how come you're alone this year? Where are all your girlfriends? What happened to that Vancouver girl who always came around at Christmas?" Ryan felt a strange warmth and comfort when his friend mentioned Sophie, but he just shrugged it off. Later that night, he bumped into one of the many girls he had once asked to pose as his girlfriend. He wanted to avoid her, not because he was rude, but because he no longer felt comfortable around the women he used to date. It felt as if they were all silently judging him. The girl saw him and called out, "Ryan!" Unable to avoid her, he walked over and greeted her. "Hey, how are you?" "Enjoying the party?" he asked. "Yeah, sure," she replied, clearly a little tipsy. She waved the whiskey in her hand and asked, "Why don't you need someone to pretend to be your girlfriend this year?" Ryan smiled and said, "There's no need for that anymore." Before he could say anything else, the girl interrupted, "Oh, I get it. You must have finally found someone. You haven't been looking for years, right?" Her words hit him like a lightning bolt. Ryan's face lit up as he realized something. She was right. He hadn't been searching for someone because deep down he had already found her, Sophie. That was why he had stopped looking. Suddenly, everything became clear. It wasn't a specific, perfect girl he had been searching for all those years. He had been chasing an idea of perfection. But now he understood that perfection in love isn't something you find. It's something you build together. Realizing that he had let go of someone truly special, Ryan rushed outside. His heart was pounding with fear. What if Sophie had moved on? What if she didn't feel the same anymore? For the first time, Ryan understood the fear of losing someone he truly cared about. Desperate, he tried calling Sophie in Vancouver. It was Christmas Eve and the phone lines were busy. He tried again and again, refusing to give up. Finally, at the stroke of midnight, the call went through. He confessed his love to Sophie, pouring out his heart. On the other end of the line, Sophie was moved to tears. She had never gotten over him, not even after all these years. She had been waiting for him, never giving up hope. Ryan was overjoyed. They made plans for him to fly to Vancouver so they could start their life together. It was the happiest moment of his life. But just 2 days before his flight, Ryan received a heartbreaking call from Sophie's father. Sophie had been in a head-on car collision with a drunk driver. She had spent 6 hours in a coma before passing away. Ryan was devastated. The world seemed so cruel. Why had fate played such a terrible trick on him? He cursed the heavens for taking Sophie away, denying him even one last moment with her. He cursed himself for taking so long to realize his mistake. That was in 1996. Moral: treasure what you have. Time moves too slowly for those who wait, too quickly for those who fear, too long for those who grieve, and too short for those who rejoice. But for those who love, time is eternal. Cherish the people you love. For in life, anything can happen at any moment, and sometimes it can be too late to make things right.